Assalamu alaikum. Beautiful evening in Lahore. Today is 18th of January 2026. So I made a brief video uh, that what determines GDP per capita. Traditionally, GDP per capita is income. Income is production level, and in traditional economics, production is equal to capital, labor, and land. It's a function of capital, labor, and land. Now that's a non-linear equation, whereas endogenous growth model will suggest that it is technology which determines uh, how GDP is increased, which means that the growth rate of GDP per capita. So in econometrics, how we would deal with it is by taking a logarithm of income, which in return would be GDP per capita. That will be the variable which will be in the left hand side. Whereas in the right hand side, there are, in the tradition of development economics, Douglas North, Danny Roderick, Darren Ajimoglu, Paul and Romer of Harvard University, and there are so many other economists, for example, World Bank, Kaufman et al. What they would put in the right hand side would be institutions, which is generally determined by rule of law. And then, the propensity to produce really depends on globalization, and that is exports plus imports. Whereas labor productivity would be analyzed, which is kind of a innovation that I bring in into the national income equation, would be human capital. Human capital, yet again, something which is introduced to the development literature by Amartya Sen and Mahbubul Haq. Now, in the main equation, income equation, we have three variables, three independent variables: institutions, rule of law, globalization, exports plus imports, and productivity, which is human capital. Human capital, generally, University of California, Berkeley's, Baron Lee provide an excellent data set of years of schooling, which would determine labor productivity. And that's how the main equation would work. And then you try to find institutions, the variable the through instruments, as well as globalization through instruments, as well as labor productivity. The instruments, as explained, would be for institutions sector mortality, for globalization trade shares determined by geography, whereas for our level of schooling, it will be qualitative test scores in mathematics, for example. And then that's how you determine a non-linear algorithm equation.